So, dear student, in the last class we have just started the very important part of haloalkane. That means this chapter that is SN1 mechanism, and later we will go for SN2 mechanism. So, in the last class, I have just introduced what is SN1. That means unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction, and this part comes under the compulsory question for our theory examination, right? So among SN1 and SN2, one will be fixed for our main examination for 3 marks, right? So, so in that regard, so unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction, right? So nucleophilic substitution reaction is nothing but the negative charged species will react with this type of compound. That means haloalkanes, right? Haloalkane can undergo a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Nucleophile is nothing but negatively charged species very easily. Why? Because in the beginning of this chapter only I have explained you that here R is, that means the bond between C and X, right? Did you remember, right? So always it carries both negative positive charge, partial positive charge, and it always carries partially negative charge. Why? Because of more electronegativity of halogen atom. So as a result, what happens? The electron will move towards what? X. So that means this X will acquire a negative charge. So now, and breaking is also very easy, right? Imagine now, once the bond breaks between C and X, definitely what happens? C is more electronegative element. It will drag all the bonded pair of electron towards itself. So as a result, here see, after breaking a bond, what happens? X is more electronegative element. So thus what happens? X will take a bonded pair of electron with it, and as a result C will be the loser here, right? So C will get positive charge and X will get a negative charge. Very simple phenomenon, one we can say, right? So now, so that's why. So now, if this part, after breaking up a bond with the X, if this part is getting positive charge, means it must and should react with, again, a nucleophile only, or nucleophiles only. So that's why unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. See, once you attack this nucleophile on this, then it will be removed. That means what is happening? Just exchanging. Substitute. We are substituting one atom with the other, right? So we are replacing X with one more X or a nucleophile like OH minus, Cn minus, right? Any minus, right? So that is nothing but the nucleophilic substitution reaction. So let me define first what is SN1 reaction, right? What is SN1 reaction? So here SN1 reaction is nothing but the reaction between tertiary butyl bromide, the reaction between tertiary butyl bromide, tertiary means the halogen atom to which carbon is attached. That means the carbon which is directly having a halogen atom, to around this carbon there must be a 3R group, right? Tertiary, already I have explained that, right? And hydroxyl ion, butyl bromide and hydroxyl ion to form tertiary butanol, to form tertiary butanol, right? Tertiary butanol is called SN1 reaction, right? So SN1 reaction is nothing but this. So now my intention is to explain why this is called as a unimolecular and a nucleophilic and then substitution. I let everything I will be clear now. So before that, I want to show you the reaction between them. If you after seeing this reaction, definitely when you can come to know why this is called as a unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Reaction is very simple, dear student, but here the concepts are very important. If you understand correctly, then on the SN1 and SN2 reaction mechanisms, definitely you will be having 2 to 3 questions in your competitive examination, any competitive examination, CET2, whatever it may be, right? So now see, tertiary butyl bromide, that means simply we will write haloalkane, right? So tertiary means what should we do? Tertiary, one alkyl group, one more, right? Tertiary, right? And here in case of X there is a bromide. Tertiary with respect to this. Why? Because to this carbon, that means to which the X is attached, to that carbon atom there are 3 alkyl groups. So that means it is a tertiary butyl. Why we are calling this as a butyl? It is a IPAC, not IPAC name, trivial name or common name, right? So now 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 4 butyl. Tertiary butyl bromide undergo reaction with what? Hydroxyl. Hydroxyl ion means OH minus. That means KOH we use, but for the reaction, I'm just showing you a simple example. And now what happens? It is just a substitution reaction. Substitution reaction means we have to replace it. See to form tertiary butanol, right? That means what we are doing, tertiary is saying here also tertiary, there is a tertiary. There is no change with this part. But what we are doing, we are just replacing Br with what? OH. That's all. That is nothing but the SN1 reaction. Same part, tertiary you keep as it is. Right? Introduce OH, Br will be removed. That means if I use, say for example, directly you use KOH. So thus nucleophile only should attack. And now what will be the product? KBr, potassium bromide is the byproduct, what we can say. So this is tertiary butyl bromide, and this one is tertiary butanol. Very simple, right? Tertiary butanol. Now just see this reaction. So this is about the reaction, right? So very simple, dear student. Here the central carbon, to the central carbon there must be a 3 alkyl group with bromide, that is called tertiary butyl bromide, right? Tertiary butyl bromide, and reacts with potassium hydroxide, you can say, or else directly you can call a nucleophile name, like this hydroxyl group, to form a tertiary butanol, right? So this is nothing but the SN1 reaction. So in examination they will ask you for 3 marks. So if you write this, definition and the reaction will give you a 1 marks, right? And the next part of this reaction is mechanism, right? They will ask write SN1 reaction mechanism, right? So now say this is the first part, one I can say, and the later is mechanism, and simple explanation will be there, followed by the simple explanation, one I can say, right? So now here the rate of this reaction is depends only on tertiary butyl bromide. See, or else I will explain in the mechanism itself. Then only you can understand. Directly we will go with the mechanism, right? So mechanism Very simple type of mechanism. So now see here the reaction mechanism which we know involves the following steps. See dear student, here SN1 reaction, I will write it. SN1 reaction follows two steps. Two steps, right? So it follows two steps. So we will go with step 1, right? In step one will be the fast that means here the slow reaction takes place. In first step, tertiary butyl bromide undergo ionization to form tertiary carbocation. Very important, right? So now again you write CH3, 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 Br. It is a slow step, and slow step is rate determining step. Very important. Rate determine, that means the slow step only determines the rate. What is the rate? First order, zero order, or second order, like this. Why? Because see here, whenever there will be a slow step, then one we can imagine what are the reagents are involving in the reaction. But in the fast step, you cannot imagine what is happening, right? So slow step is, if you want, you can write it down. Slow step is a rate determining step. That means it determines the rate, whether it is a first order, second order, or zero order. In chemical kinetics, one we come to know, right, about this. Now what happens is automatically Br will be removed, sorry, from the CH3. So that means Br, once the Br is removed from this carbon, carbon is less electronegative than the Br. That means this Br is taking all the electrons, and who is the loser? Loser will be the carbon plus Br minus. Understood? So now without, that means in the slow step, right? In the slow step, our reaction is only depend on the alkyl bromide. That means tertiary butyl bromide. So that's why here how many reagents are there? Only one, right? One mole of reagent. So that means that's why we wrote it is a unimolecular, right? Understood? It is unimolecular. That means here only one reagent. This reaction, totally this reaction is depend on this reagent only. So that's why this reaction is called as SN1 reaction. So that's why in the starting only I used a word unimolecular. That means only one molecule. Totally, it is a one molecule. One molecule only involving to carry forward this reaction. Understood? So now, after removing this, it will get a positive charge. So how, without using any reagents or attacking groups, why this Br is removing its bond with the carbon? This is the next question, right? Listen it carefully, very interesting. So now see, alkyl groups are electron donating groups, don't forget, right? So I will remove this, and right, this is about first step. First step is slow step, which determines the rate. And then here what happens is in SN1, the only this reaction SN1 mechanism is only depend on the primary only one molecule. So that's why it is a unimolecular reaction. That's we came to know. So now see here, without using any reagent, how the bond, that means Br, why the Br is going into the removal or ionization, why ionization is taking place? Simply see, without any reason there will be no removal, right, or no addition. There must be a reason. The reason is here alkyl groups. Remember, these points are very new for you. Alkyl groups, all the alkyl groups are electron donating groups. These are very, very important points, right? Donating groups. All the alkyl groups are electron donating groups. Alkyl groups are electron donating groups. That means they donate the electron to the other compound or compound present beside them, right? So now see here, this is whole thing is a single compound. That means tertiary butyl bromide is a single compound, and its arrangement is like this. So here the main carbon is this, that means the central carbon. So you just look at the central carbon atom. To the central carbon atom there is a group which is electron withdrawing. It will not donate the electron. Why? Because its electronegativity is more. Because of its electronegativity, what happens? It will remove the it will drag the electron towards itself. So thus what happens here, these methyl groups always try to donate the electrons, right, to what? Central carbon atom. Don't forget, they will not donate directly to the Br. There is a interlink, that is the center point. So they donate the central carbon atom. After donation, what happens? Now you just imagine, you forget about these methyl groups. So now always the electrons are coming towards what? Carbon, and there must be a capacity of any element to accept the electrons. So after its over capacity, what happens? There is a Br group which is directly in link with what? Carbon. And now imagine, carbon is less electronegative than the bromine, right? So that's why on carbon more number of electrons are present. So what happens now? These electrons will be dragged by this bromine, right? And the number of electron, why? Because they continuously donate the electron to the central carbon atom, and this Br continually drags the electron. And what happens? There should be a limit. After crossing the limit, what happens? The density of electron increases on the bromine. Once it increases, what happens? Automatically bond breaks. This is the main thing about the SN1 mechanism. Very importantly, we need to understand this point. That means why the carbocation, how the carbocation forms without using any extra reagent or attacking group, right? So this is the reason why. Because onto this carbon atom there are three alkyl groups are present, and those alkyl group continuously donate the electron. As a result, Br will drag those electrons, and after its limit over limit, what happens? It breaks a bond with this central carbon atom, and it leads to the formation of, as I shown in the first step, that is nothing but slow step. And what happens? A carbocation formation takes place. And one more important point you can catch over here, that means tertiary carbocation is more stable one, we can say. Which one is the most stable carbocation? Means tertiary carbocation is more stable than the secondary carbocation. Secondary carbocation is most stable than the primary carbocation. Why? Because see, I will show you here. So this is about the first step. Next step we will see. So why we are calling this as a, I will just write a carbocations. So first one, CH3, it is what? Tertiary. Now CH3, it is secondary. Why? Because only two alkyl groups are present, right? And now coming to one more, CH3, H. It is a primary. Why? Because only one alkyl group is present. So now the most important part. Why? Because this comes under your NEET, CET or JEE. So this is the just depth, I can say. So now they will ask you, among these three, which one is more stable? So first answer goes to this tertiary. Why? Because here the strength increases. I mean the stability of carbocation increases if the alkyl groups are increased, right? So see here, then as we see the tertiary, secondary and primary, in tertiary carbocation, what I said, alkyl groups are donating group. How many electron donating groups are present in the tertiary? There are three. Here only two, and here only one. So now here, even though it is a carbocation, that means electron scarcity species, even though it is having a that condition, then also this charge is suppressed. Why? Because of three donating groups are present around it, so that's why they always donate the electron to it, and that positive charge will be suppressed. As coming to here, now the number of donating groups are decreased. So now this is less stable than this. And now here, what about this? Only one electron donating group. This positive charge will not be suppressed as we think, right? So that's why it is less stable. This is about first step, and even I gave you a idea about your competitive exams also, right? Now last step, that is step 2. In step 2, what happens is, right? So carbocation, to the carbocation, hydroxyl group will be attacked, and the formation of what butanol takes place. I mean tertiary butanol, and it is a fast step, right? So C, CH3. You just carry forward this, right? First step product plus now addition of OH minus. See here, because this carbon is having, I mean the central carbon is having a positive charge around it, this nucleophile can attack from front side like this. There are two chances, right? And it may attack from the back side like this. It may attack from the back side. Why? Because this carbon atom is having positive charge on it. So that's why, that is the reason it can attack from the front, or else it can go from the back side. So as a result, it is a fast step, right? It is a fast step. Now see, this has a first front attack, and this has a second. First product will be like this. See, first product will be like this. CH3, again CH3, OH. Understood? And now second product I will write over here, or else I will write this. And the second is, that means in the second case it is going from the back. Back means just configuration will be changed. CH3, OH. That's all. So these are the two possible what products one we can get from the SN1 mechanism, right? The stereochemistry of SN1 mechanism I will explain in the next class. If you are having any doubts regarding SN1 mechanism, please don't hesitate to ask the questions, right?